咁應該大家都聽到我講嘢噶啦。咁我哋今晚逢禮拜四晚9點鐘嘅線上分享咧就正式開始啦。因為而家啱啱已經係9點鐘嘅時間啦。好，咁今日咧就同大家咧分享去講解咧 Lifewave 嘅另一款光療貼片啦，就係 Aeon。咁其實咧上一次咧本身就打算今日咧一次過講兩款嘅，咁但係咧當我去研究Aeon呢個貼片嘅時候咧，咁發覺到其實有好多好好嘅資訊咧，要同大家分享啊。咁所以咧今日咧就只能夠同大家去分享 Aeon 呢一個光療貼片嘅資訊啦。好，咁首先咧，簡單介紹一下我自己先。咁我叫 Steven，姓鄧嘅，係嚟自香港。咁咧，我自己咧，其實就接觸健康嘅方面嘅產品咧，健康保健產品咧，都有17年多嘅時間啦。咁響sorry 啊，唔好意思啊，響2021年嘅6月啊，2021年嘅6月嘅時候咧，就正式接觸認識 Lifewave 呢個產品啦，咁而亦都從而透過我自己去網上搜尋咗一啲資料，了解咗之後咧，我就去購買我人生第一包嘅 Lifewave 嘅光療貼片，就 X39啦，咁去開始嘅。咁亦都係參與咗呢個公司嘅發展啦。咁其實由2021年6月11號開始，咁去到而家咧，咁已經係加入咗大概1年8個月嘅時間噶啦。好，咁咧好簡單同大家重溫翻一下咧，之前我哋學習到嘅一啲知識啦。咁其實咧，原來我哋要知道咧，我哋身體每個細胞用嚟溝通嘅語言咧，就係用光㗎喎。咁光就係細胞嘅語言啦。咁細胞用光嚟溝通啦。咁所以咧，當咧我哋身體每個細胞去接收到唔同嘅光嘅話咧，原來就會產生咗唔同嘅反應啦。咁而咧 Lifewave 嘅光療貼片咧，佢正其實就係透過用翻光呢一個溝通嘅方式咧，係同我哋細胞去溝通。咁所以咧，點解 Lifewave 嘅貼片咧能夠可以好直接咧、好有效、好快速咁咧，令到我哋身體咧產生各種唔同嘅反應啦？咁咧喺前一次咧，我就同大家分享咗 X39係可以幫助到我哋身體係佢產生到出嚟嘅光可以幫助到我哋身體產生幹細胞啦、修復基因啦，同埋全面提升我哋身體嘅修復力嘅。咁另外咧，上一個禮拜咧，就同大家分享咗 X49，就係可以比較針對性幾個範疇啦，可以幫助我哋改善我哋嘅腦部啦、我哋嘅血管、我哋嘅肌肉骨骼甚至乎咧已經有研究或者一啲嘅見證係證實咗咧 X49咧係能夠可以幫助生發啦，同埋可以幫助我哋防輻射嘅喎。咁今日咧就同大家分享啦，另外一款其實響 X39同 X49 另外嘅其中咧一款咧都係最多人用，同埋咧其實呢一款產品咧，呢一款貼片咧係響 X39同 X49未推出之前咧 ，Lifewave 公司係最暢銷嘅一個產品就係 Aeon 啦。咁今日就會同大家詳細去分享呢個 Aeon 嘅光療貼片。好，咁首先咧同大家分享一下先啦。咁其實 Aeon 咧係幾時正式推出嘅咧？原來咧 Aeon 呢個貼片咧，佢係喺2011年嘅時候咧已經係推出咗噶啦。咁即係講緊已經有接近12年嘅歷史噶咯。咁其實點解 Aeon 叫做 Aeon 咧？咁原來咧當其時咧公司未幫佢命名之前咧，佢係叫 X15嘅。咁所以咧，如果大家有用 Aeon 嘅話咧，都會留意到咧 Aeon 嗰個貼片嗰個包裝上邊咧都有寫住 X15嘅喎。咁甚至乎咧有一啲嘅會員啦或者用家啦，佢就會 誤解以為就係話啊，係咪呢一個貼片得15塊啊？咁其實就唔係嘅，每一包 Lifewave 嘅貼片咧，其實都係有30塊啊。咁但係點解 Aeon 會叫 X15咧？原來咧 X15意思咧就係咧阿 David Smith 即係 Lifewave 貼片嘅發明家啦，佢研發出嚟第15款嘅貼片，所以咧佢就叫 X15啦。咁之後咧，亦都再被命名為叫做 Aeon 啦。咁 Aeon 咧其中一個意思咧，原來就係話咧係一個不可測量或者無限嘅時間空間，或者叫做代表叫做永恆啦，或者或者可以講緊叫做一個好長嘅一段時間啦。即係話其實簡單啲嚟講，即係話 Aeon 係幫助我哋去令到我哋可以更加長壽啦，更加健康啦咁樣嘅。咁當然啦，亦都係當其時 Lifewave 係一個好革命性嘅抗衰老嘅產品嚟嘅。咁其實咧，抗衰老嘅意思咧，唔係單止淨係話就係話能夠令到你可以生存到幾耐啊，唔係講緊淨係你生存喺呢個世界上面嘅時間，其實更加咧係講緊咧能夠可以幫助到你真係帶嚟真正嘅好處，例如咧可以更加年輕啦，或者係更加全身冇任何嘅痛症啦，或者咧講緊咧充滿活力嘅一種健康，咁先為之係抗衰老嘅。咁以下咧就係一個短片，其實呢個短片咧都係因為我去準備今晚去同大家分享Aeon嘅時候咧，喺公司 YouTube 嘅channel 度咧揾到一段都好多年歷史之前嘅一個短片。咁其實講緊係2位用咗Aeon嘅用家啦。咁其實佢哋原來係玩呢個溜冰嘅，咁亦都甚至乎係講緊一個金牌嘅選手啦。咁佢哋分享翻咧，佢哋用 Lifewave Aeon 喺佢哋身上得到嘅好處喎。咁大家可以睇一睇啦。
In the past, at least in medicine, in Western medicine, aging was just a fact of life. That is absolutely not true. It is not inevitable.
Well, I think I can do anything I put my mind to. There's nothing that's going to stop me. Not even age. Age has been a concept that we all grew up with, and it's like something I just want to let go of.
People don't have to suffer. I am a prime example of that. Being able to get back to doing splits and doing the back bend. When I'm getting older, I'm skating better. And I never thought that that could be possible, but I'm living proof that that is possible.
What do you think of when you hear the term anti-aging? Do you think about how long you live? What if anti-aging were a completely different concept? What if it were about the benefits that you receive today, right here, right now? Hi, I'm David Schmidt, and in a moment, you're going to hear about a powerful new product called Aeon. Aeon is a dramatic anti-aging technology for vibrant health, more energy, and probably most importantly, less stress in our daily lives. But Aeon is a lot more than just another product. Aeon is about changing lives, and very often in some dramatic ways. I'd like you to take a moment now and listen to the story of Karen and James. Karen and James come from two very different worlds, yet found each other through a common bond. Their story is a remarkable one of perseverance, internal strength, and what's possible when you put your mind to it. Thanks to Lifewave and Aeon, their gold medal attitude is now taking them to higher levels than ever before.
My mother, who had chronic pain all her life, and I grew up with that. She had depression and chronic pain. And so she would have our auntie do acupuncture on her. And occasionally I'd be asked, so what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, well, I want to be a real doctor. So that didn't go very well with the auntie. I went to med school, got good grades, and became a medical doctor, and loved it, except it was very hard on the body. As you can imagine, just, 36 hours in a row, you have to be up, constantly being woken up over and over again. And unfortunately, I burnt out in my mid-30s. I got really sick and became very tired. And I remember waking up one morning and I couldn't move my head. I was just exhausted. So I said, there must be another way. I can't imagine people living like this. I refuse to live my life disabled for the rest of my life. I just refused. I got enough energy to be able to do what I always loved to do in my pastime, which is figure skating. And I got back into doing that. I was very excited and got healthy enough to even compete finally in 2005. And that's when I was introduced to Lifewave. I thought, oh, what the heck? I had 2 weeks left before my first international competition in skating in Germany. And I thought, well, I might as well try it. So here I am in Germany, and everyone else is complaining about how awful the ice is. The altitude's really hard on their lungs. And I'm thinking, I don't feel so bad. I don't know what everybody's talking about. And I just didn't really clue in. It was the patches at the time. I just thought everybody was just complaining. But when I went to do my performance, it was absolutely the most amazing performance I'd ever had in my life up to that point. And I thought, wow, like athletes talk about being in the zone. I was totally in the zone. And I felt great. I didn't have pain. I wasn't short of breath. I skated my program as best as I could. There was just something about that zone that I just knew I won. And so that I brought home a gold medal for the US. So that was a very, very proud moment.
The first time I competed, I was an emotional wreck inside. I was like a hurricane without the eye. It was not calm at all. Because when you skate a program, I mean, 3 minute program, 2 minute program, and afterwards you're usually huffing and puffing. Now we're not as breathing as hard as we usually do. I love the calmness. There is a calmness about the patches that comes over me when they're on me. Not so stressed out.
After James and I won our second adult national championships in pairs, we decided we were going to push the envelope and do some of the harder lifts. So we had our coach teach us these newer lifts where the guy's arms are completely overhead. And the star lift was one where I'm kind of cartwheeling over him, and he catches me mid cartwheel and lifts me up almost pretty much with one arm. And it was an extremely difficult lift for us. And our cool Aeon story was that on a Thursday, we had a coaching session with our pairs coach, Jeffrey, and he had us at the rink and he was teaching us, how to do this really tough lift. And basically James couldn't get his arm up. So, Jeffrey would have to push him all the way to the top. But once we were there, he could lock and that was fine.
I could only get her up to my shoulders. We were only getting about this high, and sometimes it would get just a little bit more, but could never get her up over. I was just like, man, I don't know how they're doing this. We just couldn't find that explosion to get her up and over.
So he was so excited, when he got his Aeon patches. So the next day, Friday, he started using them. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, used them for 3 days. On day 3, we went back to the rink to practice our off ice lifts, and we get to the star lift. And so the first thing, I step into it, and boom, his arm goes all the way to the top, and I'm speechless. I'm like, oh.
It was unbelievable. Basically, I couldn't believe how easy she just popped up there. It's like, damn. It's like, whoa.
And so we do it again and again and again and again. 7 times we did that lift. And I'm thinking, let's see, on Thursday you couldn't do it, or we couldn't do it. 3 days of the Aeon patch, and now you can do it. We were speechless. We were amazed. We were like, nobody's here to see this. We're like calling our coaches on the phone that night going, oh my gosh, we did the star lift. They're like, really? Yes, we lifted it. It was really cool. So we're so excited. And so now we remind each other, you remember Aeon? Oh, yeah.
So after that, we did more and more in other practices. And then I was able to hold her up over my head and do a single arm star lift where she's just over my head. And one hand up there. I was just like, wow, this is like very cool. Felt like we've accomplished a big hurdle right there, and the Aeon patch really helped us get her up there.
There's no question that I would highly recommend them to anyone, whether it be a professional athlete or the weekend warrior who just loves what they do. And I have a lot of patients that hike, that climb, kayak, marathons, really big in Lake Placid. I believe that they would benefit from that, and the strength and the endurance.
What if you had the power to change someone's life for the better, starting with your own? This is what Lifewave Aeon is all about. Anti-aging is about the benefits that you receive today, not 20 years from now. You can have vibrant health, more energy, and probably most importantly, less stress in your life. So make a difference in your life and the lives of those around you. Start with Lifewave Aeon today.
好啦，咁我相信咧，大家可能應該都係第一次睇呢段短片咧，因為我自己都係啊。咁頭先見到啦，兩位嘅一男一女啦，咁其實喺好多年前咧，啱啱 Aeon 推出嘅時間咧，咁佢哋就去使用啦，咁佢發覺咧，用咗Lifewave嘅 Aeon之後咧，佢發覺咧喺佢哋嘅表現上面，喺佢嗰個滑冰溜冰嘅表現上面咧係完全係好唔同嘅。咁其實咧代表咗啲咩咧？其實代表咗Aeon嘅貼片係令到佢哋整體成個體能機能都提升咗啦。咁喺呢度咧，我相信呢個問題都 即係大家都唔需要答噶啦。咁其實有冇邊位想更加健康、更加長壽咧？我相信咧，每一位咧都係想更加健康得嚟咧，亦都更加長壽嘅，更加長壽得嚟咧更加健康。咁最緊要咧可以做到一樣嘢係嗰個要訣喺邊咧？咁其中咧有一樣嘢好重要嘅，就係咧係我哋盡量將我哋衰老嘅速度減慢啦。咁咧，所以咧喺呢度咧一開始嘅時候咧就同大家去分享一下啦，就係其實有啲乜嘢導致到我哋會加速我哋衰老啦，或者導致我哋嘅衰老咧。咁其中咧原來咧如果我哋嘅每個細胞嘅能量減少嘅越嚟越減少嘅話，就會導致我哋衰老啦。如果我哋嘅器官嘅功能下降嘅話，亦都會導致我哋衰老啦。咁同埋咧，原來咧我哋經常如果缺水或者脫水咧，都會導致我哋衰老嘅喎。咁或者咧一啲好重要嘅營養素嘅消耗咧，即係話如果當我哋缺乏某一啲好重要嘅營養素嘅時候咧，都會導致我哋衰老嘅。咁另外咧，仲有就係話，如果我哋一啲特定嘅荷爾蒙嘅水平下降啦，又或者長期俾一啲嘅自由基去令到我哋身體嘅組織受到損害，亦都會導致衰老啦。我哋嘅細胞嘅 DNA 受損，亦都會導致衰老啦，或者壓力啦。咁其實咧，仲有一個好重要嘅原因嘅喎，就係炎症啦。咁其實咧，原來咧炎症即係講緊發炎啦，係可以咧導致到我哋身體咧造成好多嘅退化啦。咁亦都係講緊炎症，原來係會係一種破壞性嘅物質而引致嘅。咁如果咧我哋長期咧身體產生好多炎症嘅話咧，其實咧就會係導致好多嘅問題喎。因為點解咧？其實好多一啲嘅身體嘅一啲慢性病例如呢個動物嘅粥狀硬化啦、癌症啦、肥胖症啦、糖尿病啦、充血性嘅心力衰竭啦、消化系統嘅疾病啦、呢個阿爾茲海默症，即係其實簡單嚟講，即係呢個腦退化症啊。其實咧，原來咧都係證實咗咧，係因為咧由炎症引起嘅。所以咧，其實咧，如果我哋能夠咧減少我哋身體炎症嘅水平咧，就可以減少我哋衰老噶啦。咁所以咧，其中即係好多種種嘅因素咧，去做出嚟一個結論咧，就係其實好多疾病咧，其實原來咧都有一個共同點嘅喎，就係咧由炎症係開始嘅。咁亦都好重要就係話咧，原來炎症咧係會破壞我哋身體細胞嘅 DNA 啦，而從而咧令到我哋壽命縮短嘅喎。咁而喺呢度咧，同大家分享一下咧一個導致到衰老嘅一個循環啦。咁首先咧，原來其實咧由一開始咧就由壓力開始喎。壓力會點樣咧？如果我哋身體我哋自己有壓力產生嘅，呢個壓力咧就會令到我哋身體嘅氧化提升啦。咁而呢個氧化度提升嘅時候咧，就會導致我哋身體嘅炎症更加增加啦。炎症增加嘅話咧，亦都會咧令到我哋細胞同埋器官受損。咁咧，器官同細胞就係我哋組成成個身體嘅元素啦。所以咧，如果我哋細胞同器官受損嘅話咧，就會導致我哋衰老啦。咁越衰老嘅話咧，亦都有機會咧越產生更加多嘅壓力喎。咁一個不斷嘅一個循環之下咧，就會產生到衰老啦。咁同埋咧，大家要留意就係話，原來咧呢個氧化嘅壓力同埋我哋身體嘅炎症咧，都係正係會導致我哋細胞嘅基因受損嘅。咁而咧，原來 Aeon 可以能夠幫助到我哋抗衰老嘅最主要嘅原因咧，就係因為咧佢能夠可以去好有效去將三個嘅源頭三個導致衰老嘅源頭，第一個係壓力啦，第二個係氧化啦，第三個係炎症咧，去減低嘅。 好啦，咁所以咧喺呢度咧就同大家分享一下咧 Aeon 最主要做到3個嘅功效啦。咁第一個咧就係減少呢個炎症啦。咁其實咧喺 Aeon 啱啱推出嘅時候咧，咁已經咧有一啲嘅博士啊，呢個圖中大家見到係一位 doctor 啦，咁佢係有養馬嘅習慣嘅。咁其中咧佢一隻馬咧已經係31歲噶啦，一隻好老嘅馬啦。因為其實如果即係相信香港人啊比較少養馬啦，咁其實原來一隻馬咧大概都係30歲左右嘅年歲嘅啫，咁所以咧一隻31歲嘅馬咧其實已經係屬於一個即係婆婆同公公級嘅一個馬啦。咁而咧當其時咧就呢位 doctor 咧就俾佢去開始試用呢個 Aeon 啦，咁發覺咧之前同用咗 Aeon 之後咧，佢發覺咧呢隻馬咧，佢嗰個成個身體嘅狀況啊，佢個狀態咧係好唔同喎。咁而 Lifewave 咧就開始向呢方面做研究啦。咁佢就用咗咧一個醫學嘅紅外成像嘅一個儀器啊。咁咧就去睇翻呢一個馬去未用 Aeon 同埋用咗 Aeon 之前，用咗 Aeon 之後。佢究竟佢身體產生咗啲乜嘢嘅變化咧？咁原來咧就係發覺咧呢一個馬咧係響用咗 Aeon 之後咧，佢身體上面產生出嚟嘅炎症咧係好明顯地減少咗嘅喎。咁亦都當然啦，除咗用馬之外咧，亦都用直接用人去做測試啦。咁呢個咧就亦都係講緊一個人咧係用咗 Aeon 之後咧，短短20分鐘。你會見到咧，已經係好明顯咧，佢身體嘅炎症咧係減少啦。咁其實好簡單咧，就係話越紅色嘅部位咧，就係越多炎症嘅地方。咁大家見到就係短短用咗20分鐘啦。咁呢個男士啦，佢已經身體上面嘅炎症咧係好明顯地減少咗。咁其實咧，我唔知大家認唔認識咩叫炎症？我相信發炎好多人都聽過啦。咁究竟咩叫炎症咧？原來咧炎症咧係我哋身體自己嘅一種嘅自衛嘅模式嚟嘅，本身係好事嚟嘅。炎症唔係壞事嚟嘅，炎症係好事嚟嘅。咁原來咧，當一啲嘅刺激啦，或者一啲病原或者我哋身體受到傷害嘅時候咧，我哋身體咧就會有炎症產生啦。其實呢個炎症咧，最主要就係想防止到嗰個傷害咧去不斷去惡化或者擴大啦。咁呢個炎症係想保護到我哋受損嘅組織啦，或者係器官嘅。咁但係咧，原來咧炎症就有主要分2種喎，一種係叫急性嘅發炎啦，一種叫慢性嘅發炎。咁急性發炎咧，其實簡單嚟講就係通常就係好短喺幾分鐘啊，或者幾日嘅時間之內啦。咁通常都係因為可能你係受損咗啊，或者有啲有害嘅物質去刺激而產生嘅反應啦。通常比較明顯嘅就係有紅啊、痕啊、熱啊、痛咁樣嘅狀況啦。咁但係咧，呢個急性嘅發炎咧，通常就係響好短嘅時間之內去發生，亦都好短嘅時間之內咧就會消失㗎啦。咁呢個其實係對於我哋身體係好事嘅，因為係幫助我哋身體去保護嘅。咁但係咧，如果我哋身體有一啲慢性嘅炎症啦，即係話講緊咧係講緊斷星期或者斷月或者甚至乎斷年嘅時間，喺我哋身體上面不斷去產生嘅一啲炎症咧，呢啲炎症咧就會導致我哋身體咧嘅健康咧有長遠嘅影響啦。咁會導致身體嘅組織受到破壞啦，會纖維化啦，或者係壞死等等嘅。咁常見嘅炎症咧係有好多嘅，咁喺呢度咧大家即係都會見到啦，好多一般我哋見到炎症，例如呢個鼻竇炎啊、支氣管炎啊、關節炎啊、肝炎啊、胃炎啊、肺炎啊等等。咁而咧，如果長期一啲慢性嘅炎症喺我哋身體嘅時候咧，其實亦都有機會咧就產生一啲併發症啦，例如呢個神經系統嘅疾病啦、老人痴呆症啦，即係而家我哋講緊嘅腦退化症啦、心腦血管疾病啦、糖尿病啦、癌症啦、關節炎啦或者肺病等等嘅喎。所以大家千祈唔好忽視呢個炎症嘅問題啦。 咁亦都好多報道咧指出咧，其實炎症咧係會有機會咧誘發到呢個二型糖尿病嘅喎。咁呢個腦退化症咧亦都係講緊係一種發炎嘅反應嚟嘅，血管嘅硬化啦，亦都係因為發炎引致啦。咁而有一位好出名喺香港嘅健康專家啦，顧小培啦，咁其實佢都有講好多關於炎症對我哋身體嘅唔好處嘅。咁其中咧，佢亦都有講到咧，最容易引起癌症嘅原因咧，原來就係我哋身體不斷係慢性發炎啦。咁如果大家有興趣嘅話咧，都可以上翻佢個頻道去睇翻相關嘅佢嘅講解啦。好啦，咁所以咧，其實 Aeon 咧其中一個主要嘅功效咧，就係幫助到我哋身體係減少炎症啦。好啦，第二個功效咧就係原來可以幫助我哋減少壓力喎。咁 Lifewave 咧亦都喺呢方面咧有做過一啲研究啦。咁亦都一開始嘅時候係揾咗一啲動物啦。咁呢個圖中咧，大家見到係一隻狗嚟嘅。咁佢係未用呢個呢個 Aeon 之前咧，你會見到咧喺呢個呢個熱成像圖像入邊咧，佢嘅血液循環係非常之差嘅。藍色嘅部分咧就代表咗咧佢好多一啲血液循環嘅地方係受到損害啦。咁而咧，當佢貼咗呢個 Aeon 上去身體嘅時候咧，你會見到咧佢嘅成個身體嗰個嘅血液循環咧係已經好明顯係恢復咗。咁其實咧，血液循環咧亦都關乎到我哋嘅自律神經問題啦。咁其實咧，原來 Aeon 咧就係可以幫助到我哋咧呢個自律神經嘅系統咧係恢復正常嘅，同埋恢復活躍嘅。咁其實講到健康方面咧，原來咧大家都即係通常一聽到健康壓力啊，如果講到壓力呢樣嘢啊，大家聽到壓力就會覺得係唔好嘅嘢啦。但係其實咧，原來壓力都有分兩種嘅喎，一種係對於我哋健康嘅壓力，另外一種咧就係唔健康嘅壓力。咩為之健康嘅壓力咧？例如我哋去做健身啦，係一個健康嘅壓力啦。或者好似我最近都有做緊嘅就係一個禁食啦。咁我而家最近咧都做緊一個168嘅即係斷食啦。咁其實咧呢種嘅禁食對於身體產生嘅壓力咧係會對於我哋身體更加健康嘅喎。咁但係亦都有一啲係唔健康嘅壓力，例如就係話同自己嘅另一半嗌交啦。會產生唔健康嘅壓力啦，又或者香港人都好經常即係遇到嘅就係超時工作啦，OT 啦。咁原來咧長期咁樣超時工作咧，亦都會為身體咧產生一啲唔健康嘅壓力嘅。咁當然啦，我哋統稱一啲對於身體有害嘅壓力咧，都係一啲唔健康嘅壓力啦。咁其實咧有好多專家咧都有研究到關於壓力對於我哋身體嘅唔好處啦。咁呢度咧大家都見到咧，其實都有好多嘅專家都有講到就係話，原來咧壓力係會令到我哋身體咧產生好多自由基啦，同埋炎症啦，就從而咧加速咗呢個衰老嘅速度啦。咁同埋咧，壓力對我哋身體有啲咩嘅影響咧？咁壓力係會講緊令到我哋嘅肌肉緊張啦，即係好多人經常長期好大壓力嘅時候，佢成個人係好繃緊嘅，或者係個膊頭好緊啊，咁樣呢啲都係壓力嘅一啲表徵啦。血壓會上升啦。血壓上升亦都係導致健康即係唔健康嘅一個情況啦，影響到我哋嘅血液循環啦，影響到我哋自己內分泌嘅系統啦，影響到我哋嘅免疫系統啦。咁所以其實壓力爆煲嘅話咧，其實都更加會容易病嘅，就係因為會影響到我哋嘅免疫系統啦，更加會提升咗我哋嘅心臟病中風嘅機會啦。好多人咧。長期受壓嘅話咧，亦都會影響中央肥胖。咁其實中央肥胖咧都會提升咗呢個癌症啦，同埋糖尿病嘅誘發佢嘅嗰個因素嘅。 咁所以咧，其實阿 David 咧都有講過咧，就話其實最緊要我哋要識得咧，就係要用愛啦，要用善意嘅理解咧，去回應所有身邊嘅事啦。咁樣咧就亦都可以幫助我哋減少好多一啲對於我哋身體唔健康嘅壓力啦。好啦，咁Aeon 除咗可以幫助我哋減壓之外咧，其實亦都仲有一個好重要嘅功能咧，就係可以幫助到咧我哋身體提升一種嘅物質，就係 SOD 啊。咁如果有接觸開一啲保健品啊、健康產品嘅朋友咧，其實對於呢個 SOD 個詞彙應該就唔陌生嘅，因為點解咧？其實 SOD 咧，其實就係一種係對抗我哋身體自由基嘅一種物質啦。咁而呢種物質咧，其實對於我哋身體好重要嘅，因為咧，當我哋不斷每一次呼吸又好，或者係講緊身體入邊不斷做緊嘅新陳代謝咧嘅時候咧，其實都會產生到自由基嘅。咁呢啲自由基咧，其實如果我哋唔去清理咗佢咧，其實就會對身體造成一個破壞。咁而我哋身體原來亦都有一個機制咧，就係會自己識得產生翻呢個 SOD 去幫助去清理呢啲自由基。咁但係當然啦，當年紀越嚟越大嘅時候咧，我哋自己產生 SOD 嘅機能又會越嚟越減低啦。咁其實呢個 SOD 有啲乜嘢好處咧？中文叫做超強抗氧化物歧化酶啊。SOD， 咁呢個 SOD 如果我哋身體足夠嘅話咧，可以幫助到我哋更加增強我哋嘅免疫系統啦，抑制呢個預防血管硬化同埋老化嘅現象啦。咁因為亦都呢個 SOD 可以去減少我哋身體嘅自由基嘅，咁令到咧減少我哋嘅細胞受損啦。咁變咗就可以令到我哋嘅皮膚更加年輕啦，延緩佢嘅老化啦。亦都咧呢個 SOD 咧，原來亦都可以咧幫助咧係抗發炎嘅喎，抗一啲微生物啦，抑制癌細胞啦，降低血壓啦，同埋保護腎臟嘅。咁所以咧，其實有一啲癌症病人點解喺呢個治療嘅期間會有嘔啊，或者係好唔舒服啊，精神不振嘅一啲副作用咧，就係因為呢啲化學藥物或者一啲輻射嘅物質咧，喺身體入邊咧產生大量嘅自由基，變咗咧我哋嘅 SOD 咧唔能夠完全清除咗呢啲自由基嘅，從而咧就產生好多呢啲嘅副作用啦。咁如果大家咧喺網上邊去揾翻去 search 呢個 SOD 嘅話咧，咁其實市面上咧其實都好多咧係愛嚟補充我哋身體 SOD 嘅產品嘅，尤其是保健品啦。大家見到好多。咁而 Lifewave 嘅貼片 Aeon咧，就簡單嚟講就係唔需要透過食用，只要貼喺我哋身體上面咧，已經可以幫助到我哋咧身體產生更加多嘅 SOD 啦。好啦，咁以下咧就去由阿 David 佢自己去同大家去分享翻，就係 Aeon響咁多年嚟咧，其實亦都做咗好多唔同嘅臨床嘅驗證報告啦。咁當然啦，呢啲驗證報告其實真係要揾翻一啲專家出嚟去分享咧，去講解翻咧，我哋先容易去理解嘅。咁呢個亦都係我自己好中意 Lifewave 貼片嘅原因，就係因為每個貼片咧，佢都係有晒臨床嘅報告去驗證佢嘅功效啦。咁所以咧，我亦都喺網上邊咧，喺公司嘅 YouTube channel 度咧，去節錄翻由David呢個 Lifewave 貼片佢嘅發明家，佢自己去親身將 Aeon 嘅幾份嘅臨床報告咧，去解釋翻俾大家聽嘅。
All right, so let's talk about a number of clinical studies here on the Aeon patch. So what proof do we have the Aeon patch reduces stress? Well, actually, an enormous amount of proof. I'm only going to show you a few studies this evening. Okay, first, this is a published study, and it's a double-blind, placebo-controlled study that was done with 50 people. And by the way, 50 people is what meets the criteria for the FDA and the FTC in order to show proof that a product works. They actually only require 40 people, but you never know how many people are going to finish a study, so you start with more. So that's why we started with 50 people. When you have a drug, that's where you see hundreds of people because there's toxic side effects, people drop out, and they don't work, quite frankly, they don't work as well as the patches. They don't get as many people responding to drugs as we do with our patches. Over 90% of the people that use the patches respond. So that's why in our studies, you always see we're getting statistical significance. Okay, in any case, this study was done by Dr. Homer Nazarian. Dr. Nazarian's now retired, but he had worked for the Department of Biomedical Engineering at the University of Texas in El Paso. And you can see we set up this study here with the Aeon patch, and we want to look at the effects on the autonomic nervous system. Now, autonomic nervous system is divided into what's called the sympathetic and parasympathetic, meaning fight or flight. And when people are in parasympathetic mode, they're in a relaxed state. When people are in sympathetic mode, this is where they're very, very active and they are stressed. So we want to see a balance where people go into a relaxed state and they're balanced right between sympathetic and parasympathetic. In any case, if you were to read through this study, you can see that this study showed something really extraordinary. Within only 20 minutes of applying the Aeon patch, we showed that we created a relaxation response in the heart, and this led to a reduction in stress. So we found that that hypothesis was true. Okay, so this is a bioelectrical test. Let's look at something else. Now, this is a study that was done at the Center for Biofield Sciences in India through Dr. Thornton Streeter. And this was another bioelectrical test, but we use 3 different types. We use something called electro-interstitial scanning, which can measure the bioelectrical effects in the organs. We use another technique called gas discharge visualization, or GDV, and this looks at the bioelectrical field around the body. And we can coordinate this to essentially what's happening in the organs. So in other words, the bigger the biofield, the healthier the subject. And then another form of measuring the energy field in the body called polycontrast interference. Anyway, long story short, and by the way, here it says the Lifewave X15 patch. When we were in pre-launch of Aeon, we referred to it as X15. So we didn't know at this time when the study was done, we didn't know what the patch was going to be called. So we just referred to it as its laboratory designation of X15. But in any case, you can see that overall, there were significant positive changes in all 3 assessment techniques. So yet, in addition to heart rate variability, 3 other bioelectrical methods of assessing activity within the body that shows the Aeon patch is inducing a state of relaxation. Okay, you may say, all right, David, that's all well and good, these bioelectrical tests, but what about any type of blood or urine tests? Do you have any biochemical tests? Well, I'm so glad you asked, because the answer is yes. Now, this is done by Melinda Connor. We love Dr. Melinda Connor. We've been working with her now for 10 years, and her daughter, Caitlin, who's also a PhD, absolutely phenomenal people and great researchers. I can't thank them enough for the way they've supported Lifewave over the past 10 years. So my thanks out to Dr. Melinda Connor and Dr. Caitlin Connor. So this is a study that we did. And generally, over the years, one of the protocols that we found that works incredibly well is to use a combination of biochemical and biophysical or bioelectrical assessments, meaning we can see bioelectrically how our organs in the body responding to the patches, and how does this show up in actual biochemical changes in the body. Well, this study was interesting. As you can see, it was done with Aeon, and it was done with 20 healthy subjects. And the result that I wanted to point out with you is that in the urine tests, we found out that the Aeon patch increased the synthesis of L-DOPA. Now, why is that important? It's important because L-DOPA is the precursor to dopamine. And dopamine in the brain is going to be one of those neurohormones that is going to drive us into a state of relaxation, among other things. Dopamine is also going to help to support healthy growth hormone levels. So long story short, we're showing bioelectrically, you put on the Aeon patch, and now the heart goes into a state of relaxation. The nervous system goes into a state of relaxation, and the chemistry in the brain changes to that of a relaxed state. There's even an increase in antioxidants in the body, like glutathione. And that's important because if our body is less stressed, we won't use as many antioxidants. The antioxidants will be conserved. And that's very important because that can help to support health and longevity. All right, now I teased you a little bit before, so I need to explain. We have had the good fortune over the years of working with Dr. Glenn Ryan. Now, Glenn Ryan is internationally recognized as a leader in understanding the bioelectrical phenomena. around the cells in the human body. And he has come up with a number of very, very novel in vitro tests. One of them is to look at the effects of different products on human DNA. Now, I had a discussion once with Dr. Ryan about this. And what was interesting is we wanted to look at the effects of the Aeon patch on DNA. One of the things that he brought up to me is, oh, I wonder if we're going to see if DNA goes into a mode of being superconductive. Now, you've probably seen strands of DNA. There is a phenomenon that researchers still don't quite understand, but sometimes DNA will go into a toroid or a donut shape. And when it goes into this donut shape, it becomes superconducting. In other words, it loses all resistance to electricity, and it forms a massive bioelectrical biomagnetic field. This could explain why people that practice Qigong and other energy methods emit extremely powerful magnetic fields off of their palms, and they're able to heal with their hands. That's one possible way to explain it. There is a number of books I have on the phenomena of human levitation, where people have been documented to levitate off the surface of the earth. So one of the things I've suspected is that what happens is DNA goes into a superconducting state, because it's very well known that a magnet will float above a superconductor. So in other words, the earth has a small magnetic field. And so if we had a superconductor, we might be able to float it off the surface of the earth. I know this has actually been done. Don't ask me to get into the details behind that. But in any case, we didn't see that with the Aeon patch. So you're not going to put on the Aeon patch and fly like Superman. Okay, so just make that clear. But what we did find with this test is that the Aeon patch did in fact produce an electrical response in DNA. Okay, electrical properties of DNA were immediately measured and shown to significantly increase under certain excitation conditions, meaning when they're exposed to the Aeon patch. Now, this is important because it helps us to understand some of the many beneficial effects that the Aeon patch has on the human body. All right, we'll keep this moving along. You're probably getting the idea now that we have quite a few studies on Aeon because it's such a powerful product. Okay, now, many of you listening may say, you know, David, I don't really care about my DNA. Give me something that I do care about. Okay, what about the way you look and the health and appearance of your skin? Well, look no further. We did a study with 2 medical doctors down in Australia, and we wanted to look at using Aeon, glutathione, and carnosine on improving the skin, and the results were extraordinary. Now, this was a 12-week study. It was, in the study, we had 29 women between the ages of 45 and 65, and we wanted to look at a number of different parameters. So long story short, what we showed in the study is that the use of our YH patches could help to slow down the rate of aging in the skin. How incredible is that? Not only that, but probably not surprisingly, there were dramatic reductions in the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. Not only that, we saw this very powerful anti-aging effect where the hydration of the skin was improved. As we age, the level of water inside the cell normally decreases. So if we can increase hydration in the cells, that is a very powerful anti-aging effect. Now, also very remarkably, the cells of the body are composed of a fatty acid, it's a fatty acid membrane. And what was incredible here is that these 3 patches actually improve the way the body synthesized fats in the cell. So this is very important because this means that not only will the Aeon patch help you feel better, it helps you look better as well. All right, another study we did, I'm going to wrap up in 2 minutes. Another study that we did, this was a really fun study because Drs. Tom and Helen Budzinski are very well-known and well-respected PhDs in the field of biofeedback. Dr. Budzinski, unfortunately, is no longer with us, but we had the opportunity for many years to do studies with him. But this study was looking at using Aeon patch and testing it with an electrocardiogram. Long story short is that in this study, we showed that the Aeon patch could help shift the body into a parasympathetic mode and get the body more relaxed. All right, I think one more study here we're going to show is in the beginning of this presentation, I made the statement that when we're under emotional stress, this can degrade the overall health of the body, break down the cells, and lead to premature aging. So the question is, if we manage stress, can this help improve our quality of life and maybe even our lifespan? And we see an indication of this in this study. We used a technique called electrointerstitial scanning. And in this study, we used this technique to look at how would the Aeon patch affect the health of the organs. And we looked at this using Aeon patch 12 hours a day over a period of 2 weeks and look at what we found. In summary, The data shows that wearing the Aeon patch this way over a period of 2 weeks produced a highly significant improvement in the physiological functional status of the organs that were measured. And there's a lot more detail to this, so time kind of prohibits us from getting into it. But the bottom line is that we've shown through our studies within the first 20 minutes of using Aeon, it helps you get into a relaxed state. With continued use, it's going to help improve the health of the organs in your body, and it's even going to help support the health and appearance of your skin.
哇！所以
So
咧，
let's talk about
大家睇完呢段片之後咧，由阿 David 去解釋翻有關於 Aeon 嘅好幾個臨床報告驗證啦。咁原來咧 ，Aeon 除咗可以幫助我哋減壓之外咧，原來仲有美容嘅功效嘅喎。咁所以咧，大家即係如果想都 keep 住自己可以更加靚嘅話咧，咁其實都係應該多啲去用到呢個 Aeon 啦。好啦，咁喺呢個環節咧，咁就去到呢個時間就同大家分享一啲關於 Aeon 嘅一啲見證分享啦。好啦，咁呢個分享咧就係講緊啦，就係一位太太嘅老公，咁佢手指公度整損咗，佢成日都即係佢話係經常都係有呢個情況嘅。咁咧佢發覺咧貼咗 Aeon 啊，淨係貼咗喺嗰個傷口位一日咧，就已經本身又痛又腫咧，已經就改善咗啦。咁另外咧，呢位女士咧就有用開 Lifewave 嘅貼片啦，佢有用 X39啦，用 Icewave 啦。咁咧佢發覺有一日咧，佢個喉嚨咧就突然間好似火燒咁樣啊。咁佢靈機一觸就話：你用個 Aeon，不如貼咗落去個喉嚨嗰個位置度，睇下可唔可以幫助到消炎啦。咁發覺咧就係非常之快速嘅時間啊，就係一晚嘅時間咧已經係改善咗啦。咁呢位咧就好多謝佢啦，呢位係我嘅太太嚟嘅，咁呢個係佢嘅分享，我都可以做見證咧，就係都唔記得咗幾時啦。之前有一晚突然間咧，佢個嘴腫起咗啊！咁你大家見到最上嗰幅圖就係佢喺凌晨4點時候幫自己影啦，咁跟住咧就即刻咧貼一個 Aeon，貼個39落去佢嗰個嘴嘅附近啦。咁發覺咧第二朝起身10點鐘嘅時候咧就已經係消咗腫啦。所以其實好多時咧，我哋都會將 Aeon 同 X39咧一齊去用咧，其實個效果會更加好嘅。阿 David 咧都係建議咁樣用法嘅。好啦，咁另外咧呢位嘅長者啦，咁就唔小心撞親喎，喺上年嘅2月25號嘅時候撞親個頭啦。咁咧就開始咧，佢囡囡就俾佢用 Aeon 貼響佢撞親嘅位置附近 ，X39就貼響個大椎穴。咁咧佢發覺咧好短時間之後咧，大概呢個1個月左右啦，咁已經咧退晒腫同埋咧精神翻啦。好，咁另外咧，呢個亦都係一個都好真係好好嘅一個見證咧，就係關於個靜脈曲張嘅。咁咧有位女士咧，佢係講緊靜脈曲張嘅情況非常之嚴重啦。大家見到最左邊嘅圖，喺上年嘅4月26嘅時候，當其時咧醫生係建議佢要做手術嘅啦，嗰個靜脈曲張非常之嚴重啦。咁但係佢就冇去接受手術，就開始去用 Lifewave 嘅貼片。咁佢用咗 X39、X49 同埋 Aeon 呢3款貼片嘅。佢個用法咧就係 X39 貼大椎穴，X49 貼肚臍下邊，Aeon 咧就直接貼喺有靜脈曲張嚴重嘅位置附近。咁大家見到咧，用咗大概4個半月時間咧，已經係好明顯地係改善咗好多啦。佢靜脈曲張嘅呢個情況。咁呢個亦都一個我覺得好 amazing 嘅見證，就係啱啱喺上個禮拜6嘅晏晝，我哋嘅體驗日啦，喺荔枝角。咁咧一位嘅女士就佢叫阿 May 啦。咁其實咧當其時佢入嚟嘅時候咧，我都有留意到佢，就係因為佢本身成個嘅精神狀態都唔係咁好㗎。咁亦都甚至乎聽下嘅時候，亦都攰到瞓着咗啦。咁原來咧佢身體都有好多嘅痛症問題喎。咁當其時就即時幫佢去用咗2款嘅貼片，用咗 Aeon同埋 Icewave，亦都係我自己 本人去幫佢貼嘅。咁貼完之後咧，佢係即時已經係好多嘅身體嘅痛症係減少咗啦。咁去到大概用咗貼咗30分鐘之後啦，佢話我見到佢個成個人嗰個精神狀態咧，個面色都唔同晒。咁咧我就即時去再同佢做個訪問，係錄影咗嘅。咁呢個亦都同大家去分享一下啦。
咁阿 May 你好啊，咁我想訪問一下咧，嗱頭先就幫你貼咗 Aeon 喺你個大椎穴啦，跟住又用埋呢個冰波，就做咗啤有白，係啦，你自己有咩感覺啊？
貼完依家覺得條頸唔痛啦，你腰骨又唔痛啦，對腳就剩翻少少痛啦，同埋對腳有力行路咗咯，冇頭先嚟嘅時候咧好酸軟冇力行唔到咁咯。
非常好。
同埋講嘢又大聲咗，精神咗，冇咁攰咯。
非常好啊，非常好。咁我想問下咧，未貼之前咧，你最主要就係話嗰個頸嗰度好痛啊嘛？係呢個痛咗幾耐㗎？
由舊年2022年7月8號痛到依家。
係，點解你咁清楚記得嗰個日子嘅？
其實我不嬲嘅記性係好好噶，只不過我舊年12月25號又再小中風咧，所以個記性又差咗，個表達能力同埋理解能力，聽嘢同埋講嘢，睇嘢聽嘢都差咗咯。
係。咁我想問下，頭先幫你貼咗一貼片咧，你有冇覺得呢方面即係講緊個腦嘅靈活性有冇幫到手啊？除咗個痛症改善咗啦，即係膊頭啊、腰啊、腳啊，咁同埋行路行得快咗啦。
都有㗎。
係。
即係個腦筋好似快咗啦，轉數快咗，冇咁慢咯。因為之前係慢啲嘅，同埋頭先即係好攰啦，攰得好緊要。
係咯，我見你頭先
眯埋㗎，因為其實我好想聽，初我真係可以提精神聽，但係後尾真係提唔到精神啦，跟住我要眯埋隻眼，仲埋要耷低條頸，因為條頸好攰，即係撐唔到個頭咁咯，好似。
而家咧？
依家 OK 啊！依家條頸我有力，可以又大聲講嘢啦，同埋又精神咗，冇咁攰咯。
OK，好啊，非常好啊，恭喜晒你啊！多謝晒你。
咁啊，呢個都係真係一個好開心嘅一個見證啦，即係見住佢係由個狀態都比較差，而短真係用咗短30分鐘，用咗2款嘅貼片，佢已經係唔同晒成個狀態，講嘢亦都快咗啦，個聲音亦都大咗啦。另外咧，喺馬來西亞咧，亦都有一位嘅當其時係13、14歲嘅一個女仔啦。咁當其時 X39都未出㗎，咁而佢係有一個癌症嘅情況啊。咁公司咧就當其時係佢一個 auntie 介紹佢用 Aeon 啦。咁跟住再之後咧，Lifewave 知道呢件事嘅時候咧，咁David 咧就係 sponsor 佢係用 Aeon 去幫助改善身體啦。咁呢個係亦都係佢一個嘅親身嘅分享啦。
我是叶嘉秀，今年18岁，来自马来西亚的吉隆坡。在2008年7月，我的听觉出现了问题，去检查时发现患上了鼻咽癌第3期。当时我没有做任何治疗，所以我的癌症从第3期变成第4期。我从2009年5月才接受治疗，为了治疗，我休学了1年，过后就开始漫长的化疗与电疗。在09年11月做了第8次化疗后，我的阿姨介绍我用 Lifewave 贴片做排毒，在排毒过程中排出很多浓褐色的痰、深色的排泄物。能量贴片让我排汗，人也觉得有精神。在那段时间，我的听觉慢慢恢复正 胃口也变得很好。在12月继续做第2次化疗，我开始做第38次电疗。我化疗使我掉头发，没有胃口。电疗有很多副作用，电疗后眼部和颈部被电得黑黑的，嘴巴也没有唾液，没有味觉了，鼻子也阻塞了，呼吸也困难，耳膜也被电伤了，所以听觉也受损了。在2010年8月，我开了1次鼻子手术，之后就用药液洗调鼻子，鼻内长出的肉块一直不能复合，一直的伤口也一直发炎。就在受折磨的时候，我被选为 X15 贴片做临床实验。贴了 X15 的第1天，我的鼻子没有那么疼痛，口干唇裂也好多了。5天后，人也觉得精神有活力，身体觉得舒服多了。第6、第7天要是休息2天不贴，所有电疗的副作用不舒服的感觉都回来了，因此我被允许每天贴，一直贴到现在。X15 使我把电疗和手术的疼痛减少了，也帮我恢复得很快。David Smith 要我用其他的 Lifewave 贴片帮助提高身体的免疫力和体力。之前我长出的头发像干草枯枝黄黄的，现在所长出的头发乌黑细嫩，颜色恢复了。我的味觉、嗅觉、听觉都恢复了许多，口水分泌也回来了。现在我睡眠好，胃口好，时常想吃东西，体重也慢慢增加，做事也有活力了。当我去医院复诊时，医生也很惊讶我恢复得如此快。我很感谢 David Smith 的关怀，电邮的慰问，更感谢 Lifewave 公司慷慨赞助我 X15 使用。希望我能赶快摆脱病痛的折磨。我希望这个见证能够让其他癌症病友不要放弃治疗，勇敢的走下去。谢谢。
所以咧，其實Lifewave 嘅貼片真係可以幫到好多嘅人。咁剛才係一啲關於 Aeon 嘅見證分享啦。咁而咧，其實咧我哋都會好多時咧係將唔同嘅貼片咧一齊去配搭去使用嘅喎。咁其中以下咧就係一啲係唔同狀況嘅情況之下咧，我哋都會建議有配搭其他貼片，包括埋同 Aeon 一齊使用嘅一啲建議嘅。咁其中講緊可能發燒啊、鼻敏感啊，我哋會建議係用 X39加 Aeon 啦。痛風啊、骨刺啊，就會用 X39 谷胱甘肽加 Aeon。如果植物曲張嘅話咧，咁就如果比較嚴重咧，就係可以用 X39啦、X49同埋 Aeon 啦。如果有即係瞓覺有鼻鼾嘅話咧，可以用 X39、Silent Aeon。咁皮膚上面有濕疹啊、牛皮癬啊，就可以 X39、谷胱甘肽、Aeon 同埋活麗嘅。咁同埋亦都可以將活麗嘅晚霜去搽響有濕疹或者牛皮癬嘅皮膚上面啦。咁眼睛上面亦都係有唔同嘅貼法啦。咁今日唔一一去講解啦。咁其實如果大家都想去再了解多啲唔同狀況，而我哋建議嘅Lifewave貼片嘅使用方法咧，咁大家都可以去購買一本由我小弟自己去設計嘅一本使用指南啦。好啦，咁最後啦，同大家再重溫翻啦。今日同大家分享 Aeon貼片最主要嘅3大功能。第一個功能咧就係可以幫助我哋身體減少一啲慢性發炎嘅情況啦。第二就係可以幫助我哋減少一啲對於身體唔健康嘅一啲壓力啦。第三咧就係提升我哋身體嘅抗氧化，因為 Aeon 就係可以幫助我哋身體咧提升一種 SOD 嘅物質嘅，就係可以有效提升呢個抗氧化能力啦。咁從而咧呢3樣嘅情況都減少嘅時候咧，咁我哋咧就可以全面幫助我哋身體咧提升我哋嘅抗衰老能力啦。